have no idea what's going on with this phone. What's up, everybody? It's me, Erica. We are down here. I don't know what's gonna. Maybe tomorrow I'll figure it out. I think I know what's wrong with the phone and the volume. My apologies for that. I have done nothing different than I've done in the past with the phone, so I have no clue. I don't know if we're just used to the clear quality at home versus in the car being stationed, being like right here. I have no idea. Anyways, we're down here. Remember yesterday I said that I had wrote, I had just started writing. I guess, I don't know if you want to call it intuitive writing, but anyways, I don't know what it is. Anyway, so go ahead and like, subscribe, and comment, let the diva know you stopped by. I am going to talk about Behind Her Eyes, probably talk about that at home later. It's the last two episodes. I did watch them, and bitch, not what I was expecting. So we'll talk about that. But yesterday I did have a conversation with you all about how I felt about these women and the relationships that they are getting into, and you know how we're all taught, you know, choose better, choose better, choose better, and then these women go out and find these men who look good on paper, but then come to find out they just really have, you know, damaged personality traits and disorders and issues. And I feel bad. I actually don't like, I know that a lot of people, I don't care who it is. I don't like to see any person, any woman, any person. I don't like to see people being abused emotionally, and I don't like to see people being abused, especially physically, but emotionally and psychologically, I really don't like it, because sometimes you don't notice it until you're outside of it, right? So we talked about Melody and how she went to Atlanta. She said she was able to kind of step outside of the situation and then look and say, I was being emotionally abused, right? And you know, the statistic is that here, I'll tell you the statistic about um, about women, about black women being abused. It says, I just read it to you here. It's really sad. It says, and this is from the Blackburn Center .org website. It states that the statistic on domestic violence in the United States is disturbing. 1 in 3 women and 1 in 10 men will experience domestic violence in their lifetime. Each year, domestic violence is estimated to affect 10 million people in the United States. Yet for black women, the numbers are even more stark. You know, and it really makes me sad, because we are always winning at some shit that harms us. We're always at the top of being abused. We're always at the top of not getting the proper health care. We're always winning in those areas. We always got the high numbers in those areas. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, for black women, the numbers are even more stark. More than 40% of black women will experience domestic violence in their lifetime. So that's telling me, fellas, any man watching this, I want you to go ask 10 women. Go ask 10 women and see how many women that you are close to have experienced domestic violence in their lifetime. And you'll be shocked at the numbers, and you will also not be so quick to dismiss somebody being abused or laugh at them being abused or say what they're experiencing is not real. It also says that according to the Institute of Women's Policy Research Status of Black Women in the United States, in comparison, 31.5% of all women will experience domestic violence. A report from the National Center of Victims' Crimes found that 53.8% of black women had experienced psychological abuse, while 41.2% of black women had experienced physical abuse. It says, more disturbingly, black women are 2.5 times more likely to be murdered by men than white women. In an overwhelmingly majority of these cases, 92%, the person who killed them knew their victim. 56% of these homicides were committed by a current or former intimate partner. Nearly all 92% of these killings were intraracial, which means that they were committed by a black man against a black woman. So it's not just physical, which I think that a lot of us are we're more in tune with physical abuse, right? If we could see your pain, if we could see the bruise, if we could see the black eye, if we could see the broken rib, if we could see you in the hospital, if we could see the little hospital thing around your fucking wrist, then we might believe you. But then we'll probably ask, what did you do to deserve it? You know how we do. And when I say we, I'm speaking for the collective. I know that you personally may not do that, so I don't need for you to get in the comments to other yourself. I'm speaking as a collective, right? And I'm thinking about these shows where first of all, this conversation about high value, based on, and I'm going to be very clear, based on the way that black people in the United States have been brought up, we are taught to be flashy. We are flamboyant in a sense. We are a flashy people. We like to show our perceived wealth. We like to look like we have money. We like to look the part. We like to drive the big black Benz and live in an apartment. We like to pay $700 on a car note just to say we drive in a Benz. You know what I'm saying? It's all looks, and we're not gonna act like that is not where we come from as a collective. So when you think of high value, it's easy for a person to look at a man and believe because he has on hard bottom church shoes, a ascot, and a pocket square that he is high value, when in reality he is of really low character, low integrity, low emotional intelligence. The only thing high value about him are his clothes and his outward expression to you. So then you get caught up thinking you got a high value man because the nigga got on a suit and tie, right? And we get caught up in it, and so many people have forgotten that high value, meaning when you have high values, not when you are worth, when and I also think that, because I at first never liked this idea of putting value on a person's body, right? They're high value. Then I'm thinking to myself, oh, these people think high value is what you look like on the outside. Never mind the lack of therapy. Never mind the lack of being in volunteer in your community. Never mind having integrity. Never mind being heart-centered. Never mind being kind. Never mind all of that stuff. What your image is, that's how you are judged and how people think they want to partner with you, right? And then we also come from this idea that, men are more visual, so therefore you have to look the part. And that's a lie. Men are no more visual than women are visual, and everyone else in between. There's no indication based on gender that men are more visual or more inclined to react based on what you look like physically. There's no difference. So that's another myth and a lie that you have to unlearn, okay? And I think a lot of women get, like, when I look at Martell, when I look at Mark Daly, when I look at who else? We don't know much about Ralph, but when we met him, he was gaslighting us, right? And we know that men learn manipulation early. They either learn, like I told you, it's either manipulation or influence. Influence is for an outward, that's an outward expression. I'm influencing you. You can influence people to go good or bad, but it's more so outward. I don't know how to say it. It's an outward expression. It's not for yourself, right? Manipulation, right, which is the bad side of influence, is it's self-serving. It's more self-serving. So I'm looking at Kenya, I'm looking at Melody, I'm looking at these otherwise smart women who are told, like me, choose better. Yeah, I chose a person, the people that I chose, and it was not a good person, right? She chose better, it's not a good person. She chose better, they're not a good person. And then you're like, oh, I'm going to get this high value, right? Martell on paper, he would be considered high value until you start to actually have a conversation with him, right? When you start talking to these men and get into the dimensions of their personality, most of them have learned the art of manipulation in order to get what they want. So they're going to manipulate from end to end, how they present themselves, what they talk about. And they say they send you They send you the representative, right? You go, you get a new job. The representative shows up for 90 days. As soon as the benefits kick in, they really start coming to work late, not producing as much as they should. You know, all of that stuff happens, right? And we know everybody has had that experience where you meet the representative, and then once you get into the relationship, you realize this person's personality is really messed up. So this idea of high value has nothing to do with an outward appearance. It's really all about a inward, just about the person, their inward expression. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. All right, I can't find it. I can't find what I was looking for in terms of some different characteristics that you. But integrity is big. You know, having a good character, being kind, and all this other stuff. And when you look at these men, you're like, yeah, you know, he's a tech person, or he's a restaurateur, or he's a real estate developer. And then I was watching Tamar on Hollywood Unlocked, and I couldn't watch it for long because she was on there defending David. And that's another thing. This idea that you have to be the bigger person in order to protect your abuser, that's another thing you got to get out of. You got to just snatch their mask off. Share your story, because a part of them winning at like the stuff that's going on with Tiny and Ti. The way that stuff like that keep going is when people are ashamed, when people feel guilty, when people feel dumb for making the decision. Like, how could I make that decision? How did I end up there? Right? So you don't tell anybody. And that's another way that you protect the person who harmed you, is by not saying anything, allowing them to just exist because you want to be the bigger person. You get on platforms where we have seen you be abused, and you want to be the bigger person and say, well, you know, it's not all true what they say about David. You know, he was really good to me. He was really, girl, no, that's not, and it's like, I'm going to be the bigger person, so I'm going to protect my abuser and say that he was a good person. I'm not going to be the one that says he was a fucking asshole. No, bitch. Call that nigga for what he is. A fucking asshole, an abusing ass motherfucking asshole. That's what you call him. Stop protecting these people by not sharing your story. I know it's hard. I was one of those people. I was one of those people who protected people who done me wrong because I didn't want to seem like an otherwise brilliant woman is allowing herself to be abused, right? You hear how I even say allowing myself to be abused. And so you sit in that shame, you sit in that fear, you sit in that guilt. All of that does nothing but protect the person who harmed you. So I'm not here for, and I couldn't even watch that whole Tamar thing. I had to turn it off because I got so mad. I was like, is she sitting here defending David? And it's like, lady, we saw an edited version of how he treats you when cameras are rolling. Do you think this egomaniacal, entitled man who feels entitled to your vagina, even though he knows you're supposed to be fasting, but he's also a Christian, and then applying these Christian values to the person that is coming in there to help you, and he's become all this abusive? No, you don't protect a person like that. Anyways, I'm not going to be the bigger person when somebody is harming me. Just like OG said, whenever it comes to somebody attacking me, or I'm always going to defend myself first. Especially if you're attacking me, you're doing me first. I'm not going to protect you. I'm not going to play the bigger person. I'm being the bigger person to myself. I'm protecting myself. And then and what you do when you do that, when you start talking about it, it gives other women and men the space to talk about their abuse too, because they don't feel alone. It's a very isolating thing when you are in the throes of either physical, emotional, psychological abuse. You don't realize what's going on. Then you ask people, why you don't leave? Like FKA Twigs when she was abused by Shia LaBeouf. And it's not just black. I gave you statistics for black men because that's my community. But it's not just black men. White men are abusing white women too. Latin men, Asian men. I see it, okay? So it's just men are just dangerous, period. Anyway. But at the end of the day, if you pick one and you pick one who has a low emotional intelligence, who hasn't done anything to develop themselves, you're going to get this who looks like a high value man with a fucked up personality. with a fucked up heart, a person who only operates from his root chakra and not his heart, right? He's only operating from a base, low level, primal sense of lust, sense of like all, you think of the seven sins. Think of all the shit, the gluttony, just entitled, just greedy. I want everything. I want this. I want that, and manipulating people to get it. Girl, bye. Mark Daly, another one. Charisma, nice guy. Everybody keeps saying he's a nice guy. He's a nice guy, but look at Kenya. Look at the state of Kenya's emotions when she speaks of him. Does that look like somebody who's nice? Does she look like she's dealing with somebody who's nice? Right? If you're dealing with somebody, people can be kind. You can have somebody be upset and mad and they still be kind and operate from their heart. This man is not kind. I don't know why Cynthia. I don't know why Candy. I don't know why anybody keeps saying, well, I like Mark. No, I don't like how Mark is treating you. I don't like what Mark is doing to you. The way that Essie spoke to Marie, that's what these women need, friends. Like, girl, he's no good for you, and tell you straight out. We're not going to be one of those friends that, well, I'm just minding my business. I wish the people that said they cared about me, I wish they did not mind their business when I was walking my stupid ass right on into an abusive relationship. I wish somebody was like, no, 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 girl, no, no, no. I wish somebody was telling me no. I wish somebody was like, Erica, no, don't do it. No, I wish somebody didn't mind their business. All that mind your business. If you see your homegirl going through something or your homeboy going through something and it looks like they might be in an abusive relationship, you need to speak about it plainly. Stop minding your business. Stop that shit. Stop it. And I wrote this thing, and I'm going to read it. There's no commas. I was just writing. I wrote Tamar in Hollywood Unlock. No, protecting David, playing the bigger person. No, we're not doing that. Kenya and Mark Daly, sending you songs. You're too old to be tricked like this. She has to know, because I do believe we have a sense of what we're participating in. But it's providing or filling a hole, a space that needs healing, and you looking at an external source of that. And this abusive person who probably has the same wound as you that needs healing, hence why you were attracted to him, her, or them. Both of you, and we've all have done this, trauma bond. You have bonded with somebody, and even if they're not sharing with you what their trauma is, you are attracted to this person because you both have the same wound that needs to be healed, and you're looking for an external source to heal it instead of healing yourself. You might not even share what the trauma was. It's just the behaviors are like magnets drawing you to them. Once you come into an awakening that you are the source of your own validation and your own healing, and that it comes simply from you existing, you will not tolerate mistreatment. You just won't. You must heal the wound. You don't need anyone else to heal your wounds but you. And you know it. You have the supply. And what you're doing is attracting a vampire. And this is how it goes. You mask your need by feeling needed, and then locating someone, attracting someone who needs someone to feel sorry for them, to feel empathy for them, to absorb and therefore feel you. They need to help. They also feel the need that they need to help this person in need of healing. When you are also this person's project, right? You have a need that you want to feel needed in some way. So you find someone who needs to feel like they need help. And so now you're in this relationship. Why do you think that Mark is going to start expressing his feelings to you? He can send it in a song, but he's going to express it. No, he's not. Now you're both exchanging energy in this push and pull cycle of toxicity, disguised as someone in need and someone who can help. But they never quite pour back into you. They are fed and giving, and now you're upset because you're not getting it back. You're feeding them. You're giving to them. They need you. They need you. Oh my God, he needs me. He's this and that. And now you're feeling his needs, and that makes you feel like you're doing something, but he's never going to give it back to you. He's never going to give it back to you. And now you're resentful. Can you imagine what you could eliminate, how you can eliminate that war by healing yourself and being resourceful? That's what I wrote. You don't need these men to make you feel like you're needed. And that's another thing. Yes, we are nurturers, but that doesn't mean that it is our job to heal every adult male, especially. I can see you pouring into young women and young men. I can see you doing that. I can see that. But I do not see it that you feel like, oh, I'm the nurturer, so everybody needs a safe place to land, so I'm going to be that nurturer. I'm going to be the giver. I'm going to be giving and giving and giving and not getting anything in return and feeling depleted because you have given all your resources to someone else who is not going to give it back to you. And it's not their fault either, because that's how they were raised. That's the imprint or the template they decided to operate from for the rest of their lives. And it looks like charisma. It looks like confidence. They con mans. They're confidence men. It's a lie. The confidence is a lie. It's a mask. They're hiding a wound, and that's what it is. And you are attracted to that person because you have the same hole that they have. They approach it a different way than you. You approach it in a way that where you're like, okay, I'm gonna give, and then you're always guessing what they're going through. They're mad at something. They always get you by rewarding you and then taking it away, rewarding you and then taking it away. Just what Mark did. I'm giving you this song. I'm giving you this glimpse of optimism, as ridiculous as it sounds and juvenile as it sounds. But then the next thing I'm going to do is file for divorce. So I'm doing this to you. Now you're in this emotional damn tug of war with this man, and you have a need that needs to be felt. But when you realize that it's you that needs to fill the hole and not some external source or person, you won't deal with none of that shit. When you realize everything that you need is in you, not external. Because that's how all of these women are getting sold on this high value grift. Like I said it the other day, that is a scam. Because they telling you high value looks like this. They're not telling you that the man needs. Hold on, I'm gonna tell you, and we're gonna go. All this high value shit. They got you guys thinking something else. I don't know what this is. I don't know, but what I do know is that we are all never going to be on the same page. Values, principles, and mindsets are different across the board. We are multidimensional people. We all don't think the same. But one thing I wish we could all get in agreement is that white doesn't equal right, and high class or the standard of behavior or beauty. Once we stop participating in this system that oppressed us, we'll be better off. But the reality is that it'll never happen, because again, we all don't think the same. I don't know what that was from, February 7th. I done wrote something in my note. I put high value, and that's what came up. But I was trying to find a list, because I did that on the page. Well, remember when Iyanla had that black man on there, and his son was like 17 years old, and he had already fought his son, and she had a list of things, like she had what do you call that? A throne, right? They had a throne at the top, and all of these heart-centered behaviors that had nothing to do with wealth. It had nothing to do with an outward expression of value. It didn't have anything to do with that. It was all internal. So that's one thing that y'all got to get away from. I know you want to have men who have money and all this other stuff. I don't know where you looking when the damn average, the annual average, I'm going to give them, the annual average of the black men is under $40,000. It's about $40,000 a year. So if you are equating high value to wealth, and you looking at black men for that, that's not going to happen. Mathematically, it doesn't compute, and it won't add up. So, and then also the mere fact that men aging from 24 to 54, those are prime ages, right? almost 2 million black men are missing in this country of that age. So once again, if you are a person who is race loyal and you're looking for a black man, it's going to be, because there's no one-to-one. It's no one-to-one. And all of these men, all of these people telling you choose better, choose better, choose better. When in society, these men have been groomed to deal with women from a manipulation template. It's all about what you can get from this person. Just like Mark. Oh, I don't want anything. He's in front of everybody saying, I don't need anything. I'll just build it from the ground up. But on paper, in the dark of the night, you send some paperwork saying you want some money out of this woman, but in front of everybody you don't. So you a bitch ass nigga, right? So you gonna say it on the paper, but not say it in front of everybody. Because I truly believe that what Kenya fell into was a grifter. She found her an old man who has charisma, who looks halfway decent, had a baby with him, and now you wanna hold on to something where in his mind, I believe that he saw a desperate woman and whisked you off and love bombed you so much that your business mind, to take care of your own business, to put a prenup in place, you forgot all about that. Because what he was doing was feeling a wound that you needed to be filled, and you accepted. Any man that wants to traipse you off and marry you without anybody knowing, he is not to be trusted. That's not romantic. That is a control tactic. It's not romantic, ladies. So any man who you just meet and wants to take you, oh, let's hurry up and go get married. No. Vet that nigga. Get his social security number first. Do a background check second. Act like the nigga is applying for a job. I'm not playing with y'all. I'm not playing with y'all. Because it's high time this shit stops. Because where I am in the level that I am, for me to attract a bum nigga like that, and then for Kenya to be where she is, $1 million business owner, Sally Beauty all over, Miss USA, to attract the same type of nigga, something's not right. And it's not that that's who you chose. That's who sought you out. So be mindful of that. Okay, I'm done. I hope you guys can hear me. I hope you guys stay to the end. Take care of each other. Protect your energy. We're out of here. Peace.